Good morning. How is everybody doing? I'm in my office currently because, to be completely honest with you, I didn't feel like moving to my room. It's not that deep. I just didn't feel like it. So today we're in the office and we're talking all about tryouts today. I just conducted tryouts, I think a few weeks ago. I noticed a few things that I wanted to talk about for players that are confused on coaching criteria for picking players, how the whole process goes, what we as coaches are thinking about when we're choosing players. So I thought I would just sit down and literally just describe the whole process. So this is how I chose my team. Not to say that this is the way everyone chooses their team. I'm most likely the anomaly. From what I've seen in my local area, at least, not many coaches choose the same way as I do, other than my coaches that I had when I played. Tryouts wise, I hosted tryouts, like I said, a few weeks ago, and picked the team that I have now before my co-coach came on and was helping me out. So I was in charge of over 60 girls that are 15, 16 years old over the span of like a 2-day tryout period where it was an hour and a half each day. And it was over 60 girls and I was by myself. That's overwhelming for anyone, let alone COVID times, like not getting too close. Even when COVID and the pandemic wasn't a thing, 69 girls showing up to tryouts in one gym that looks big but really isn't that big is a lot and is very overwhelming. So I did the best that I could to watch everyone. Again, I'm only human. I have 2 eyes. I can only see as much as I was able to while running this ginormous tryout for everyone. So I did my best. But some of the criteria that I was looking for, me as a coach, is something that not a lot of coaches do, I don't think. And I could be wrong. If you're a coach, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you if you also choose your team like this. But I was looking for, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but I was looking for less of the skills and more of the internal factors that I can't teach. So what I mean by that is strong work ethic, or determined, or positive, willing to coach others, hustle when you don't know what's going on. Like things like that, things that I can't teach. Those are the things I look for that are naturally occurring in individuals. And I'm less concerned about the skills portion, because the skills portion always comes with just time, practice, and coaching. That's it. I can teach them that and I can show them how to do that and we can go through the motions. That's fine. I love doing that. The thing I can't teach is hard work, is positivity when things get really rough. Those of you who played volleyball before, you know it's a tough mental game. It's a tough mental sport. And when you start feeling down on yourself, can you pick yourself back up? Not a lot of people can. That's why they don't do well in this sport. So that was the criteria I was looking for. Now, in my situation, I was only picking one team originally. I was only looking for one team for personalities to mesh. So during these tryouts, I was at the time told, you have one team, pick the team that you want. And I'm like, okay, great, perfect. So I went to tryouts and I looked for those personalities that would match. Not just friends, because I don't love choosing just because you're friends with somebody, you both can come. I don't really love doing that. I'm talking more like competitive personalities. Are you willing to make friends with other people that you don't know? Are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to mentor someone if they don't know what they're doing? So that's what I was looking for. And just by like luck of the draw, most of my team was grade 10s. So in this scenario, it was grade 9s and 10s that attended tryouts. And I did pick mostly grade 10s for those key personality, training others, being positive. Like I really saw that in them, but I also saw it in the grade 9s that I chose, even more so, because when I put At one point I put everybody into pairs, and I put it with a grade 9 and a grade 10. And I said, you guys are going back and forth, like doing passing and setting. If your partner is struggling, help them, coach them through, tell them a few pointers that you're noticing that they could do better on. And the grade 9s that I was choosing were going up to these grade 10s, which is hard to do as a grade 9, brand new to a huge high school. It's tough to go up to someone you don't know and be like, hey, I think you could really improve on this, 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 and this. And I saw those attributes in the players that I chose, which is why I chose them. So that was really nice to see. And it's not super common either. So that's my criteria, essentially, for picking. But now I want to tell you right there, I want to tell you how to stand out during tryouts. This isn't going to work for every single coach, every single tryout, every single practice. No, every coach is different, but this is the stuff that I would notice and that I was taking into account when I was choosing people, other than the criteria I just mentioned. These were like the little extra things that were just really helpful for you to stand out. And that's all you want in tryouts, because especially girls volleyball, you're going up against 60 other girls. You kind of need to stand out. Boys volleyball, I have no idea. I think their turnout is much lower, but the same rules apply. You want to stand out. Tip number 1 is to come early and help set up the nets. And when I say come early, I mean at least 15 minutes early. This shows that you are diligent of the coach's time, that you don't want to waste their time by getting there later or just when the practice starts to set up nets and get things ready. Like, no. 15 minutes early, you get your stuff on, you take your time, you talk with the coach maybe, introduce yourself, and then you go set up the nets. And if you don't know how to, that's great, but still go and then ask somebody who does know how and say, hey, can you show me how to do this? I saw a few examples of that, and that was fantastic for me to see, because you were willing to admit that you didn't know something. That's awesome, because then we know where everybody's at. It's when you start saying, oh yeah, I got this, and then you start screwing up nets, then I, as the coach, have to go and fix it. Not super great. So come early, meet the coach, calmly set up, chat with a few people, set up the nets. Tip number 2, run in between drills. Oh my God. Also known as hustle. Just hustle everywhere. When I give you a drill, and I'm not explicitly telling you to run, not explicitly, I'll say, when you finish passing on one side, I want you to go to the other side to another line, and then you have pass from the other side. It's implied in that statement that you are running. You are not walking, you're not skipping, no, you are running. Hustle is the number one thing that coaches are looking for, because it actually shows that you want to learn and that you want to keep playing. Because otherwise it's just like, why are you here? Walking tells us that you just don't care. Running tells us you really care and you're invested. Just hustle hard. Okay, number 3, wear a noticeable shirt. When I say wear a noticeable shirt, I don't mean like a weird phrase on it or something. No, I'm talking like from far away. Can someone discern you from a crowd? So like my shirt, for instance, not a lot of people have a light blue colored shirt like this. So this would be a perfect example. My red hair combined with my shirt makes me a very noticeable person already because of the hair. But for those of you who probably don't have red hair, wearing a noticeable shirt is something that's going to help coaches discern who you are. So when they're talking to one another on the sidelines and being like, oh, I really liked how this person passed, and maybe the other coach doesn't know who you are, they'll be like, oh, who is it? And then they can point out to their co-coach, like, that's them, the one in the pink shirt, or that's them, the one with the polka dot shirt, like something like that. Because sometimes they'll write numbers on you, on your legs especially, but sometimes it's tough to tell because you weren't thinking, you wipe your hand on your leg, number gets smudged. Wear a noticeable shirt, just something that someone could see from across the gym. Number 4, when you finish practice, come to your coach and say thank you. I can't stress this enough. I don't need you to surround me, like make me feel like I'm surrounded by teenage girls, which is scary. But what I'm looking for is that you're going to thank me for my time, because coaches don't get paid for this. We are volunteering our time to coach and to train you and run tryouts. So coming up to us and just saying, like, the bare minimum, saying thank you, it really goes a long way, and it shows that you really care. And then, of course, after you say thank you, you take down the nets. Or you take down the nets and then you come say thank you. I don't care in the order. The order isn't what matters. What matters is that both actions are done. You've shown that you take down the nets, that you're involved in the team, that you want to help the team succeed, and put up and take down of the nets quickly and efficiently is super helpful, because we never know who's coming into the gym next. And then saying thank you is just like, that's just a nice thing to do, because coaches work hard. And you know, not everyone realizes how hard we actually work. So just remember that. And last but not least, number five, please don't come up to your coach at the end of practice or the end of tryouts and give them this long speech about how you deserve to be on the team. That is kind of shooting yourself in the foot. It will do the opposite of what you want. We already, as coaches, by the end of the second tryout, we already have a good idea of who's on our team. We may not know everybody, but we have a good idea of who we want. But when you start coming up to us and saying like, oh, you know, I'm so good, I'm super engaged, we're thinking about all the examples that we've just seen over the 2 days that negate your argument. You want to avoid that as much as possible. You want the coaches to have as much of a positive recollection of you as possible. So saying thank you, hustling between plays, doing your best, like things like that. And then at the end, just saying thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it. And then you go home. That's perfect. Don't stand there and tell me why you deserve to be on the team, because I'm sure everybody else has the same reasons why they deserve to be on the team. It doesn't help anything. It actually just makes your chances worse. And I think that's it. I have loved doing tryouts. It was overwhelming. And I was a little nervous because 60 plus girls is a lot. I thought it was going to be like 40. I was unfortunately very incorrect. But coaching tryouts was a really valuable experience, because now I can tell you definitively how to make a good impression on your coach so that you will make your team. And with that, that's the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a really fun time making this. I love talking about this kind of stuff. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. Just shoot me a DM. I can get back to you pretty quickly. My Instagram is listed down below. So leave me a comment, DM me. I am always around. I'm happy to answer your questions. And I will see y'all in my next video. Good job, team. I don't do braids that often, and I know I look weird, but I'm on day 8 hair. And I really don't feel like washing it, so I know I look like an egg, but it's okay. It took me literally forever. I am not very good at braiding. Take down, take up. You like my background? I love it. It's Kermit. Every day I like log onto my computer and it's like, hey, before I go to bed or whatever, I look at it for like 15 minutes and just laugh to myself here. I like 2 in the morning. Oh, frick, you're gonna be still. Ow. Oh my god, I was wondering why there was no blood flowing to my hand.